You're listening to 102.7 Chop FM, and this is ArtsTalk. Good evening. You're listening to 102.7 Chop FM, and this is ArtsTalk. I'm Dave Peters.
I'm Taylor Koss.
And this program is dedicated to bringing the arts to Newmarket. Not just the musical arts, although we always seem to have plenty of musicians.
I wonder why.
I don't know. But we will talk to any artist practicing any discipline, whether they're amateur or professional. Mm-hmm. And if you're in the arts and want to appear on this show, there are a couple of different ways that you can reach us. You can send an email to newmarketartscouncil@gmail.com.
Or you can check us out on Facebook, ArtsTalk Radio, and send us a message there.
And don't forget to tune in every Wednesday at 6 o'clock sharp, and pretty close this time.
Pretty close, we're good. Nice.
To hear good tunes and to learn what's going on in the arts in town. Our guest tonight is a local promoter. Would you say that's true, Phil?
Event organizer / promoter, yeah. That'd be good.
We're so good. Phil Heels.
Yes, correct.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
53rd and 3rd shows.
53rd and 3rd Productions?
Have you ever heard that?
I've settled on about 53rd and 3rd shows now, even though there's more to it. It's a lot easier to just have one name and do a bunch than try to put 65 names on what you do on a business card. So I just kind of settled, but I'm a bit utilitarian, like a bit of a Swiss Army knife. So.
And nice. 52rd and 3rd comes from Ramones.
Yeah, you punk fans will know exactly what it is. But for anyone who's not familiar with the Ramones and the song 53rd and 3rd, Dee Dee growing up did a lot of stuff for money, and the 53rd and 3rd is a famous street corner / area of New York where young men used to hustle. But of course, the reference for me is hustling music and putting up posters on the wall. Yeah. Like, I'm the dude that when I came in kind of to the scene in this town, I didn't know the bands as much, so I had to do what I knew best, and that's like get out on the pavement, poster. So when I say standing on the street, I'm standing on the street promoting the bands, promoting the venues. Yeah.
If you walk down Dunlop Street in Barrie, you're probably going to see some show that you're putting on, like a flyer.
Or put on like 2 years ago and it's still hanging out somewhere.
That's awesome.
So you're from Newmarket, Phil?
From Barrie originally. Moved to Toronto when I was about 11-ish to good old Parkdale. Then went up to Oakwood, St. Clair, and I got into the rave scene actually in the mid-90s. That's where I started all my promo.
Is that right?
I was about 15 or 16, and that's where I learned. I got paid kind of at first nothing. I just got into the parties for free because that's how it works in every industry. And I put out posters all around Toronto, handed out flyers, stood at numerous raves and clubs at 3-4 in the morning, multiple nights all summer just to get a foot in the door. So believe me, kids, I've been doing it 3 years, but I haven't been doing it 3 years. So that's where I actually got the start, and I got the passion for like just having the energy to go out and do it, because it's really trying, and it's like, you know, it's that's where it started basically. Yeah. And I just kind of came full circle. I'm always been a rock fan and punk and aggressive music and stuff. So
yeah, awesome.
Are raves still a thing?
No.
No.
I'd like to say the idealism of a rave is kind of still a thing. Like the peace, there used to be a saying, PLUR, peace, love, unity, raving. Right. As soon as they went commercial and went to a club, it became about being cool or like whatever. And of course, when you get commercial, you get organized crime really influencing and wanting their cut, so to speak, no pun intended there. So I think when it went mainstream, thank you, Mel Assman, Old Wounds, in about 99, that's actually when all the ODs really started. Like, if you look at the news articles before and after, it was a safer environment before they put it in the public.
Before it got regulated.
Before it got regulated.
Before the government started regulating it.
Basically, what I like to tell people who haven't been in that scene, and I wasn't in it a long time, I'm not going to say I'm some wizard about it, but I was in kind of the prime and meat and end of it. So, but it's really just the same as the hippie movement, except the ravers weren't political at all. It was more just peace, let's hang out, have a good time, and it was electronic music. I don't like that term. I like house music, whatever, as compared to classic rock. But in reality, festivals, they still do the festivals.
I guess it was availability of big halls and abandoned warehouses and things of
They
that sort, right?
you only went to clubs if you couldn't get an illegal spot that
That's so
they did
cool.
for the
I'm
night.
interested in one
So
of those.
Yeah, when you think about downtown Richmond Street West and some of those areas that are now, massive condos going up and things like that's all being developed. But back in that day, it was a little sketchy. It was a little dark.
it's funny you say Richmond specifically because I was a Queen and John kid there. Second Cup and Much Music, Black Market, all those places. Grange Park up the street. If you ever want to get a rest when you're in downtown Toronto, walk up Grange Street north, and there's a cool park. You can get some shade for anyone who's not from the area. But yeah, that Richmond area, actually, the Joker nightclub, which is now gone,
Right.
in we're going back, I'm dating myself here, 94-ish or 5, there was that doorway used to be just an old warehouse, and it was called Freak Show. And it was a Thursday night, all ages, guys and girls. Now, what's funny now is there was a Nutrigenital bathroom because everyone went in the same one back in the 90s, right? So it's funny it's actually an issue now and whatever. But it was, you'd go there and you'd hear anything from Beastie Boys to Nine Inch Nails to Delight to Tribe Called Quest to Willie Nelt. Like, it was just I wish they had something for kids it's the 90s in Toronto. I don't think it'll ever be replicated. And anyone who is part of any 90s Toronto scene, whether it was rap, whether it was rock, industrial, all that, we were lucky and we were very fortunate.
I would agree with that, and I wasn't a part of that, and you seem really lucky. It sounds like it was a fun time.
Well, it was interesting too. The DJ scene was different then than it is now. I mean, DJs now like to think of themselves as producers, and they are creating music, but that was a different kind of thing. Then they were really just dropping the needle.
Back there when I was, I just got to say my time was about 95 to 98, 99-ish, and that was when DJs were really at their peak. Like, people are, what's the guy's name now? I'm trying to think of the famous, Tiesto. Okay, so when Tiesto
Oh, I like a song he did
was
with Ray Haynes.
yeah, he's a talented dude, but
Yeah.
he's more like the trance or like the MTV type house. But when I was leaving, Tiesto was coming in, so there was so much more house. But all the DJs from then, like guys like Richie Houghton or John Aquaviva, guys like that, they're all producers now. Like you say, it's the same as the rap scene, or RZA, like producer of the Wu-Tang. They're all producing now because it's so different, and the money's in the beats. Like, the whole thing's changed.
So interesting.
So, but when I went, you carried crates of records, like the rave scene, and I'd have to say the rave and rap scene are the reason the entire milk industry had to change the size of their crates. And anyone over 30 knows exactly what I'm talking about, because that's how you used to carry your records.
You carried your records, and you often used it as furniture.
And and everything. It was your table. You could put your record player on your
I know what
records.
You're talking about those, yeah, they fit records
plastic
perfectly,
crates, right?
right?
Yeah, but
they
the
used
milk-
to.
Record perfect.
But about the late 90s and for sure early 2000s, they literally changed the size of all milk crates in at least North America.
So they wouldn't fit?
So that you had to put your records on an angle and you couldn't get as many in.
That sucks. Come on, guys. Why don't we want to help
that's
each
kinda
other?
weird.
Let's
Just
help
in
each
case
other.
you want to reinforce how much the dairy industry is a bit of a powerful people.
A bit.
Yeah.
We won't talk about supply management here. This
Yeah.
isn't a politics show.
Yeah.
but
No,
we
we are
could
not
do.
getting
We could do.
political.
So you learned about producing and promoting in the rave scene in Toronto.
I
And then what? You moved up here.
Well, I it's funny. Anyone who knows me knows I talk an awful lot, and that's part of being a promoter. It is what it is. Even though I'm an introvert, now I'll be up front here. I'll tell people too. I should have brought this
an
up.
introvert? Did you say?
It's weird. Okay, I used to go out a lot. I'm going to just be straight up. I deal with mental health issues. I have depression, anxiety. I take pills for them. I've just started to finally get help from a doctor, all that. So I'm just going to bring that out there and let everyone know that it's totally cool to do that. And a lot of people in the music industry, at least I don't know. I'm going to go 80% here. If I'm being low, I don't know. But a lot of us, it's our escape. So I find, like I said, I talk a lot, but I also, when there's something to learn, and when I was younger, all my friends were older because I didn't have a dad around, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So you kind of look up and listen. So I really was really good at shutting up when I was young. And when there was something to learn or what was successful. So I think the one thing I brought with me from Toronto, and the difference from a smaller town is no matter how good you are now, you should always be trying to get better. Mm-hmm. Like yesterday isn't as good, or what can you do every day to get better? Where I find in different scenes or smaller, now I can't reflect this or say just the Barrie scene, I find a lot of people are happy with being like local rock stars, or they're just happy with jam nights, and that's fine if that's what you're into. But a lot of people got to realize, like, the music scene is so ridiculously
It's ever
massive.
growing. There's some people even in Toronto where they feel like they own the world, and it's like, well, you've only hit this. Why, you want to?
I'd say this:
Keep
if
going.
if you're the number one band that won a radio contest in Toronto right now, you're most likely the number 1,000 if you're lucky
Right?
band in the
It's
world.
always-
And you got to remember, yeah, you're 17, 18, and you're like, I play every day, and yeah, and you go to school or something. There's some poor kid in some country who plays 22 hours a day, or you got to remember, it's international. You're not competing.
100%.
Everyone speaks English when they sing. Look at all the international stars. When I was a kid, when AC/DC did their first interview, and I heard them talk, and you're like, wait a minute, right? But it shows you how, in realistically, how much competition there is, which, it's insane.
Unfathomable how much competition. Stop making the face at me. Yeah, you just can't fathom how much competition. Competition, I hate that word, because it's like you want to succeed.
It's good,
but you're
though.
Also yeah. It's good if you can be healthy about it. Like, I find some bands are a little overly competitive, and not like they're condescending, but they can come off a little bit like the arrogance or the you know what I mean. Anyways,
It's funny.
There's competition among bands, of course.
100%.
But
But if
I
you
think
can
the bigger,
support as well.
the more important competition to take into account is the competition for people's attention, right? Or the entertainment dollar that they're going to spend.
Yeah.
They could go to a movie, they could go to a restaurant, have something to eat. They could go see a band in a bar, or do some other thing with their entertainment dollar. You look in Now Magazine or something like that at the band listings, the concert listings, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them being heard in a cloud, in a storm of information like that. I think that's really where the challenge is.
Well,
totally.
when new bands, like, when they'll message me, especially for a show, and they'll be like, hey, we want to play a show, and I'm like, shoot me your Facebook. Oh, we don't have one yet. It's like well,
It's over before
and
it starts,
it's
right?
it's not personal. And any young bands listen out here, even if you've played a bunch, you need to have music that people can listen to. You need to have a page, because if you want to be on a show, how can a promoter put your name on if people don't have a reference point? And that's just the basics. That's not even counting quality, how long you've been playing.
It kind of shows how. It sucks how it shows the seriousness that you take your band, right? Because if you have a Facebook or a Bandcamp or a SoundCloud where you have your music and your information online, it does show that you're like putting yourself out there more than someone who.
Okay, I started on Commodore 64 computers. If I can make a Twitter page and I can make a Facebook page, all you young kids out there, no excuse.
You can.
And I'm not joking. It's easy to do, and it's necessary. And if you can't do it, like, I don't do Snapchat, like, for different mediums for bands. It's good. Certain things are better, but if you're not on social media at minimum with each, and I'll be honest, Facebook's good for shows. Twitter's good to connect to other bands, venues, people in the industry, shows. You can ask questions, and you'll be surprised what artists or people will respond to you on Twitter. Like, it's kind of neat.
You can cool. I'm not crazy about, or not. I like Twitter. I just don't go on it that much. But it's funny how friends of mine or family members of mine have been like my dad was like, I'm gonna sound bad, but Duff something, that Guns N' Roses guy, liked my dad's
Duff
tweet.
McKagan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he was
whatever,
like
yeah.
so excited about it. And so
Right.
you can reach or connect with people who you'd otherwise never.
would never have a chance to.
No.
This is ArtsTalk on 102.7 CHOP FM. I'm Taylor Koss.
I'm Dave Fetus.
And we're in conversation with promoter Phil Heels. Phil, you've brought some tunes for us to listen to tonight.
Yes.
The first one out is Student Debt. What's
That's
the
our
story?
friend Eddie Sayers.
Oh,
with his band.
This is Eddie.
It sounds great.
Very nice.
Mr. Eddie, I generally put on, as most people know, a lot more kind of hard rock punk-ish shows, but I've done every type of music. If you go to the 53rd and 3rd page on Facebook, that's the little circle A guy, 53rd, the word and, third, and this is 53RD and 3RD shows. That's Twitter and Facebook, and you can see all the past shows, not all of them, because Facebook shut us down with their fake name thing a long time ago, but there's 2 years of it, and a lot of the past shows and artists. There's some live music.
Yeah.
Eddie's definitely on there.
The first show I think I ever played with you was with Rubella and Glass Amp and Eddie Sayers and Lucy.
Yeah.
Someone else. Anyways,
Not sure.
Who was it? Sorry.
And we had Eddie
Don't
on the
remember,
show 8 weeks ago.
Yeah, a few months ago, a couple months
Good
ago.
guy, really
He's
nice guy.
adorable. It's
Yeah.
so talented.
He's my ringer, I call him, because every time he comes up and people haven't seen him after, they're like, whoa.
Right?
They're like, whoa.
Yeah.
So,
Who is that
hey,
guy?
shout out Eddie, man. He's a good dude, too.
He's
He's just
Yeah.
a sweetheart of a guy, too. Very nice guy.
So shall we listen to some
yes.
Eddie?
All right. So we're going to have a little Student Debt by Eddie Sayers on 102.7 CHOP FM.
Take the time to check the writing.
Pity Party by Cassidy.
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 Our friend Jake Hamilton.
Midland's finest.
On 102.7 Chop FM. This is ArtsTalk. I'm Taylor Koss.
I'm Dave Peters.
And we are in conversation with promoter-producer Phil Heels. Phil.
Are you a producer? I just want to check on this.
I do produce events, so I am involved in the
just
production
wondering,
of various events.
And Phil has set a standard that I'd like to suggest that all future guests on ArtsTalk meet, and that is he just brought us delicious food.
Oh.
So I think if you're going to be a guest on ArtsTalk, you got to follow Phil's lead. Bring us delicious food.
We had some yummy oatmeal cranberry cookies.
Where'd you get those cookies, man?
I got these cookies. These I like to call them the chocolate chip oatmeal cran bomb cookies because they're
all that.
And what's
They're
amazing
all that.
is they're completely organic and gluten free and healthy for you, and they're from the awesome Unity Market Cafe and Studios in Barrie.
Woo-hoo!
But that is on Toronto Street, and the easiest way to find it is look for Rotten Ronnie's and go down the street for some really good food, vibes, awesome people, and lots of music.
That building is very recognizable. It's like bright yellow, funky looking outside,
And
and
speaking
gorgeous inside.
of Unity Market, 53rd and 3rd's next show is going to be Saturday, February 11th. Doors at 7, all ages, $10, and it's going to be a punk show, full bands.
Oh, wow.
So anyone who's down for that, or I know we got a lot of old punkers that you guys have the kids these days. I saw a hilarious meme online that says punk is dad. Which is absolutely the best thing I've seen spray painted on an overpass in 10 years. So, it's in all ages.
Can you share any of the bands that might be playing that night?
So far confirmed are Beyond the Wall from Ajax.
Cool.
They're one of Ajax's best kept secrets, but not anymore because I just talked about them on the radio. They're a real kind of power punk trio. If you like Sum 41, or if you like Green Day, or if you like the Ramones, or any of those guys.
We love the Ramones on ArtsTalk.
Of course, who doesn't, right? Today your love, tomorrow the world. Yes,
Exactly.
Best band ever, most influential band ever, at least.
I know Dave was really influenced by the Ramones.
I know I'm on the right show. I love it. This is great.
Oh, and you know what? I'm playing the night before that. Rubella's playing February 10th. It's going to be an awesome night of music, or awesome weekend of music in
February
Barrie.
10th?
February 10th, Rubella's playing with Bigfoot's Hand at the Fox Lounge. February 11th, there's this, I want to say kick ass. Am I allowed to say that on the radio?
Yeah.
Kick butt show.
Kick Donkey.
The Kick Donkey show.
There's a kick donkey.
Kick mule.
A kick donkey punk show
It's going to be great.
at Unity Market. So it is a completely family-friendly, all-ages show. It's not at a bar
cool.
environment or like that, so you can literally bring your kids. I will say, though, it's going to be a little bit loud with this. It is rock and roll, so
And get early.
get there early if you want a
it's,
seat because the last show filled up pretty quick with
my gosh.
the Annie Queens
It
and
was awesome.
the Hysterics and
Yep.
some
Me
other
and Laura
awesome
were
bands
jamming.
and Die Sci-Fi and other local favorites.
Lucy,
So
who's our friend.
and Adam Tompkins was on there
Yeah,
too.
he's
and-
going to come on the show soon. Look, we're just
yeah,
The top names in the
so
local area.
good.
it is. Yeah, just rocking and rolling.
So, Phil, you promote shows in Barrie and in Newmarket. Anywhere else, although you concentrate on those two towns mostly?
I've promoted shows. I think I counted. I've done about 8 venues in Barrie, and I think that's got to be an unofficial record, even though I haven't been around for a while, as how many venues a promoter's used in 3 years, whether I've chosen or been
Yeah.
forced to. I've pulled a couple emergency moves due to
Things just happen.
whatever venue issues
happens.
and the learning curve of rock and roll, we'll call it. But I'm kind of wherever's a cool spot and we can get that PA rocking and it's a good vibe. But
Yeah.
the longer I've worked, the more I've been concerned about not only the quality of the bands, but the quality of the people in the bands and the people running the venue and etc.
Yeah.
I think the honesty and the trueness is coming through. Like rock's not the 80s. Like it's not cool to be a mean person, shall we say, or arrogant, like you said. That's passe. It's
like a community. You can build a community, or you can be an arrogant, I don't know. I don't want to,
Yeah.
Me first type.
Yeah, if you could help yourself and help others at the same
you
time,
can
why
you can
wouldn't you?
donate water to the well, or you can take it for yourself, right?
Exactly.
So
There you go.
How do you find the difference between the two towns, Barrie and Newmarket, as far as availability of venues and the willingness of venues to put on shows, that type of thing?
How about the people too?
And
The
people
reception.
that you're
well, I haven't really per se done anything, so to speak, kind of Newmarket. Like I've been in Alliston, so I've pretty much done all of Barrie and area, like and places like that. But each scene is definitely different. The Newmarket scene's like a real cozy, and I think they're very focused. I think their punk scene's very tight little pot.
Super tight.
It's like a little house party of people, and it's pretty cool.
It's super cool.
Where the Barrie scene, I should tread lightly, but like I care because I do punk shows anyway. So I care. Most of the Barrie scene, it's the Barrie scene in almost all genres, but specifically punk right now. The majority of the scene is 30 and up, have kids, have married, and they can't get out to all the shows, or they're really young and starting bands, and they haven't put in the work yet. So there's a bit of a gap in the Barrie scene. So there's nothing to knock the passion of the young people doing because there's the young kids doing their little folk stuff. There's the older guys and like me trying and mix it up and do these all ages, but it's no fault of anyone's. It's just like an era where I think Newmarket, you young guys in Newmarket better start making bands, because all these guys I know are gonna start having families and
Everyone's
stuff.
still
So
playing. I guess it's just a matter of getting names out there, because I know that there's some new Newmarket punk bands.
we need new bands in every city, kids. We always need new bands. If you're not in Toronto, start a band. You'll get gigs. I promise. just play hard, be nice, and do what you say, and show up, and don't lie, and just show up and do what you say. That's all.
Yeah.
Barrie's got an advantage over Newmarket that I've noticed, which is a couple of venues that they're not huge, but they're good size.
Yeah.
You know, where you can put couple hundred people,
And they're meant for
rock.
Yeah.
Like they're rock bars. They're rock
not
venues.
like a pub or something.
Yeah, where we seem to try to squeeze rock shows into.
Well, the Grey Goat has been a blessing. Like of 2016, we were
Vino
super
at the
happy.
Grey Goat's been terrific. You've done a couple of great shows there.
I got my first show there actually a couple weeks ago. I was pretty impressed. It's a nice little stowaway upstairs, and
it is. Yeah.
It was my birthday show.
They basically, if I can make a reference, what that room reminded me of the punk show is like we were the kids at Thanksgiving at the little table having a good time. It was
I thought we were cooler than the little kids.
When you compare it though to something like Mavericks or
it's a huge difference.
It's just a huge difference.
Yeah. But it's comparable. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Well, it's sort of comparable to like say the Fox Lounge or something, even like things like that in Toronto, like that sort of bar. The only difference I would say is that the Grey Goat was not built for show. It's like, you know, you set up on the floor and everyone's on the same level as you, which is a really cool, intimate sort of venue, especially when you get a good crowd like that December show that we threw. It was so
well. Isn't indie really about swapping external like fluids in a really crowded, overheated room with your your best friends? Like, isn't that where it started? And like
rock and roll's all
like
about?
don't the people look like they're halfway from dying and halfway to heaven in all the best mosh pit pictures? Like
true,
right? So
no, it was so Newmarket, as far as Newmarket shows go, Grey Goat seems to be the best venue at this point for that.
It's very band friendly, and I
for
think
19 shows.
Also, there's a reason. Also, I cut down, and I'm not worried about large venues specifically for punk. I have a couple friends via Facebook or I've met that are in New York. A guy, Jesse Mosher. If you guys like really cool rock and roll art, check out Jesse Mosher. He's moving to France. He's done 2 tours Italy. This guy paints rock and roll stuff live. Cool. And so he's done CJ Ramone. He'll paint anyone you want. This guy's a baller. His name's Jesse Mosher. Well, he'd try to. Hey Jesse, if you're listening out there, I know we tagged you. When you get back from living in France, come on.
Oh, he's in France. Sorry, I missed
come on down in the summer, buddy.
ArtsTalk has a huge following in France. Huge.
Yeah, huge. They're probably listening right now.
It does now, mes amis. Yeah.
No, it's late. It's late.
Yeah, 6:30. Do you think we should get to some more tracks?
We probably should.
Yeah, I'm just
gonna. Your favorite gals coming up.
I'm just gonna get quick with that. So basically, what is happening in New York and all the like places that Canada and Barrie gets everything after Toronto, and Toronto gets everything after New York, and blah, and then Europe and the follow down. But what is happening in all these other places that started the scene is they're going back to mixing punk and art in small, intimate shows. Nice. So that's where, if you look at the trend of my shows, a lot of it I've gone. Because when you do art shows that are at art galleries and family and all ages, everyone is there for the right reason.
For sure.
Period. Now let's hear some Annie Queens,
Annie Queens, yeah,
Annie Queens,
by the Anti Queens. Yep.
Is
Say
that
what
the
you're gonna say.
segue? Is that the segue?
No, I just was saying like.
No,
that's
but you're
what we're
absolutely right. The
listening
people
to.
that are at these shows are at these shows because they know the band and they know somebody who knows the band or one of the bands on the bill, and they're there for that reason to support.
Or they'd
them.
like to expand their mind.
Yeah,
Yes.
or maybe they do. Whereas Barrie, of course, Barrie's twice the size of Newmarket population-wise. They've got a main rock station in 95.7
Yep.
That has done a lot to promote local acts like Rubella. With,
They also have the new Rock Hour with Noah Campbell Sunday nights, I believe, at 10.
10
But
o'clock.
check that out. He plays some really good stuff, and he's a massive supporter of all promoters and all music in Barrie. So shout out to Noah and Rock 95 for kind of stepping it
But I
up.
see us as sort of being a little brother to that and kind of
Yeah.
coming along and helping nurture
Hi,
the
Noah.
scene. Hi, Noah. Hi, Rock 95.
It's actually a good show. It is
Hi,
a
Rock
good
95.
show.
It's us, ArtsTalk. So we're going to move on now to a tune called Ladders by Sarah Blackwood. Is that right?
No, by the Anti-Queens.
Is it by the
Featuring
Anti-Queens?
Sarah
Oh, it's
Blackwood.
featuring Sarah Blackwood.
Yes.
We love the Anti-Queens, one of the best T-shirts ever.
This is also a video that you can find online. Just type in Annie Queen's Ladders, and it's a awesome video too.
Yes.
So
Now, this is a Toronto band, right?
Toronto band, yeah.
All right, so this is ArtsTalk 102.7, the Anti-Queens with Ladders.
My life is too short now to worry for somebody else. Go find yourself another slave. So pay your pitch
Cat Out of Hell, not Bat Out of Hell, by Black Cat Attack
Yeah.
from Durham region.
They're some of Schwa's
Some of the Schwaz.
awesomest punk rockers.
Most
If
awesomest
not,
punks.
let me rephrase that. North America, actually Galaxy, because this punk band, if you know anything about them, they're always fighting like space aliens and vampires, and I don't see any other bands out there protecting the Earth
There you go.
from space aliens and vampires. So you can get this song on their new CD, Draculation.
It's a pretty.
And you can
Killer
get it
CD.
on Big Cartel, I believe, or right off the Black Cat Attack album. So yeah, Black Cat Attack out of the Schwa. They're one of my faves. They've hooked me up. They've done some pretty wicked shows and brought some good U.S. bands along with them. And
Nice.
they're also, just so a lot of people know, if you're a big Sum 41 fan, Dave Brown Sound, who's one of the guitar players and plays in Sum 41, helped, I believe, start, don't quote me there, but was in Black Cat Attack for a long period of time. He helps produce them, does a bit of guitars on the album. He's a little busy with that Sum 41 thing at the moment, so you have to give the guy a little leeway.
Totally.
But Black Cat Attack's definitely legit. For anyone who's never heard them, you got to get on that, man. They're one of Canada's finest. They're a sleeper. If you like
Check it
Protest
out.
the Hero, anything like that, just check these guys, man. They'll blow your face off.
How do you decide when you're going to approach a band and try to put on a show for them? How does that all happen?
When I first started, it's hilarious. I think I'll upload to my pic the first 40 pages of my diary, I call it. When I first started, because I said I only had the background in promoting, I didn't know bands in the indie industry. So it was very, say that 5 times fast. So it was basically, I went on every Toronto site and I looked at every event and I took every JPEG of every poster, saved them, wrote every band down, went back on Facebook, looked up the bands, saw what genre they were. I basically just reversed technologied it, created a black book of if they returned the call, if they didn't, how they acted, how they were. It's amazing, bands that were maybe when you were starting out weren't so nice, and then they magically call you 2 years later for shows. But hey, black book, y'all. So bands out there being young, always be nice and be professional, because the people have a long memory, and it's
And why wouldn't you just want to be nice?
exactly.
Come on, guys.
Yep,
Why?
as my grandma
Nice
said,
to
you
nice
get
people, yeah.
you get more with sugar than you do with vinegar, and if sugar doesn't work, you can always try vinegar later, but always go with sugar
Yeah,
first.
definitely.
But now it gets to the point now where if a band's on a tour, a lot of times I'll get a call, especially out of town bands. I've been, as Noah Campbell joked, I'm the kind of fixer in Barrie, where I had a band from Chicago need a show on a Monday, or a band from, so I have to move this stuff or just do it for that. So if a band's from way far away and wants a show and I can do it for them, I'll just do it. But generally I'll approach bands I like or I'd like to work with. I generally like to work with bands that have been recommended, I know already, or down the line, because once you get working with a lot of bands, that's where you get your other bands from. And that's why it's so hard to get in, kids. This is what I'm talking about. When you message a person and say, oh, I want on your show. Well, so did the last 40 people who sent that message. So you got to have a band. You got to put in your time. If you're from a small town, don't call a bar in Toronto and expect to get a Friday or Saturday slot.
You gotta work your way
Play a Monday and just do it and put in your work. And you got to put in work, just like me. I've been doing this 3 years, and to me, I still haven't achieved. I'm just here. I made it. I'm just happy I made it past 2 years. That was my original goal. Now I'm starting to do a little more, hopefully a little more production, and hopefully get back into Toronto, into my old stomping ground, and help bands, and we'll see where it goes on the management side. And any companies out there, A&R or listening, or record companies, I've got experience in. I've promoted professional race car drivers in the Le Mans series, the Barrie Colts fan club. I worked with that. I've done fundraisers, charities. So it's never just been music.
Yeah, it's well-rounded.
It's been a bit of everything. So get at me, anyone who's hiring.
Woo!
What's the key to being a successful promoter?
Let's go back to Dave from Sum 41. I asked him when I started out. I was really keen on not making mistakes when I started. I wanted to not do the stuff bands hated. Like I said, I didn't quite have a grasp on the culture. I'm a very studious person. So the first thing I did was I asked people I knew in bands, what do you hate about promoters?
That's actually a really good thing to
What do you like about promoters?
Yeah.
I said, besides not getting paid, let's be honest, that's cliche. Everyone knows that's obviously an issue, right? What don't you like? And basically, and this is what most people will say that want to be professional, don't be wasted and drunk. communicate well so there's no surprises. When the band shows up at the venue, the only two questions they probably should be asking you is, who's the sound guy, where's the washroom, where's the bar, and where's the closest coffee shop? They shouldn't have to ask you anything besides that. By the time they get to the bar, your job should almost be done as far as just being hospitality. So you must communicate well. And also, it's a job. When you're at a show, you're having a good time, but you're a manager. You have managerial responsibility. So you have to be, it's be sober, communicate well, and just be good about it. Like, you're taking care of them. You're responsible for these bands. You're responsible for promoting them. You're responsible. If you do something bad about that show, people might put it like, it's a really big, stressful, any promoter who's even tried, I'd say, let's say over 10 shows, because I think until you've tried 10 shows and you've been absolutely fallen on the face and kicked and between your legs, whatever you are, and really had a show where no one showed up and you've done everything and you've put in all your effort, you just gotta stay at it, be positive. But the thing that I asked Dave, because he was the most experienced person in the scene at the time, and he was a really good guy about it, and I just said, look, I'm starting out, you've been around, I don't want to, what are the things? So it's like, just be professional. Like, it's not about getting drunk and partying. If you want to have a house party, put the party at your house. If you're going to put a venue's name on the line and band's name on the line, you got to care about it. And I don't know, that's just how I looked. And I think because I grew up in the rave scene with much older friends that wouldn't let me get too far out of line, I guess, that sometimes I've been referred to, and there's going to be a lot of people laughing right now. If we open the window, I'm sure we'll hear it in Barrie. I've gotten the grumpy old man from a lot of people that are, say, mid-20s and younger in the Barrie scene. And what a lot of people have to get is, it's not about being grumpy. It's about filtering out what you don't need to worry about. And that'll help you get rid of the stress, and that'll help you focus on what you need to focus on. Don't be worried about what other people are doing. Be aware of it, but focus on yourself. So being straight up, like, if people think I'm a grumpy old man, I tell them, well, I wouldn't, what would you expect if you went to like a record company in LA or New York, or do you think they're going to sit there and giggle and laugh and want to have beers with you? You know what I mean? So, and the other thing about when you're, and this goes for bands, this is not just promoters, you never know who's at your show.
It's true.
You never, it could be like, think of all the rock stars that hang out at the bars in Toronto. Like, Jack White goes to Cherry Colas all the time. That's for one instance. I'm just saying one. But you don't know. Bands are known to just show up. The Stones used to go to like a producer, an A&R, another venue who wants to book you. Anybody can be at a rock show now. And guess what? The people that are famous and can help you the most are the least flashiest, sitting in the back, relaxing, not acting like a whatever. Right. They're chilling. So that, to me, if you're an artist, is the main reason that you got to keep it in control of your show.
And you give your A game, whether there's one person there or 1,000 people there.
Well, how are you going to give an elevator speech if you're wasted?
Yeah, right, exactly.
If you just about to get your dream job or gig and a guy comes up and goes, tell me about your band, and you're too intoxicated to do it, that's all. So that you could have put in 10 years and lost it in a moment. So the game has changed. The game has changed. How much of it is
chasing venues to try to convince them to take an act that you want to see? Is that a big part of it?
I knew you were eventually going to go to how fun is it to work with venues. There's a triangle in indie music, and the triangle is bands, promoters, venues. Everyone sorta is like, the other guys are looking out for themselves, which is true. You have to look out for yourself. Yeah. Okay? That's human nature. But I will say this. The bands and promoters are the low part of the triangle, but they're two pieces of the triangle, because we both have issues with the venues, and the venues are for the venues. So they have to do their bottom line. It's a business. Now, people have to understand this. It's not a personal thing or that. It's a business. The venues are running a business and need their sales. The promoter wants people there to make the door, pay the bands. The bands want to get their pittance. And trust me, the promoter's getting a pittance too. And I will let you know, to most bands, most times at the shows, you guys are probably getting more money than the promoters, if we're being honest with you. Usually we're lying and we're like, yeah, no, it's great. so we're very good at being diplomatic, I guess. I think that's a very acquired skill of being a promoter, being able to bite your tongue, and if anyone knows me, they know that's I've acquired it, I guess, a little bit.
But without the venue, there is no show.
And without the entertainment, there's no one drinking. Right? So it's this chicken and egg
In
thing.
an ideal world, they work hand in glove.
I will say this, though, it's been much more difficult. Now, I've only been in this for 3 years in the indie scene and venues, but from people I know that have been in it 20 years, it's definitely getting harder to get paid. Let's just say, like, when a DJ is coming in with a USB stick, spins for 3 hours and gets $500 from a bar, and then you have 5 bands play and it's hard to get $400 out of a bar. Well, I'll just let the listeners determine who needs to upgrade how they think and who needs to realize what entertainment is and realize that not everyone wants to hear a DJ anymore, and that not everyone wants to hear covers all night, which is fine. We all like covers and chilling and that, but I support live original music more, and you know, it is what it is. I'm pretty straightforward, and anyone that knows me doesn't, and anyone that doesn't now does. So I support all music. I've had full acoustic shows and that, but I just think it's very hard because it is a volatile industry with bands. Unless you're consistent every night. Like in Toronto, you have your crowd. You have the GTA to pull from. You have a known venues, right? Like these Horseshoes known for years. Everyone knows the Horseshoe on a Friday night. They're going to get it. But in Barrie, or if you're a new venue, you just want to make sure you don't go under because the economy is so hard. So it's been a lot harder. And that's why, you know, maybe I can't do it at bars, or there's not enough venues in Barrie, or you can't get a deal that makes sense for you. Like there's no point in working for a bar, working for 2 months, promoting all this band, putting out 40 posters, doing social media blasts to get handed $50 by a venue owner.
Yeah.
And that's why I just like where I am now, and I'm fine with leaving the past in the past. And there is a value. We're not worth zero. Exposure is exposure. But like if the door is 100 and you have 5 bands and you're the promoter, I surely hope you're not taking more than $10 out of that door or something to cover just whatever.
Yeah.
Like there is value, and whether it's not, there's symbolism and value and respect, and it's not about an amount sometimes as much as recognition, and a little bit of pittance is part of that. So yeah.
This is ArtsTalk on 102.7 Chop FM. I'm Dave Peters.
I'm Taylor Koss.
And we're in conversation with promoter Phil Heels. We have the Socialites.
This is a Rubella track. It's an unreleased
Rubella
track. But we are kind of out of time at this moment, right?
So shall we?
So I think we are able to play these 4 songs in a row.
We could bang
I
these
think we could
off.
do it.
All right.
Yeah. So
Before we
one
do that,
one more thing from Phil here.
We're going to play a lot of awesome music in a row, but before we go again, I just want to thank all the listeners for tuning in. It's really important with this indie scene to understand that we're all in this together and working against each other in such a community where there's no money until you get to a certain level, and that it's really, really important to be friends. I'm just gonna say this about small scenes that infight: diplomacy. You have to work with people you don't like. That's the world. Grow up, work together, and grow the scene. You can't grow the scene if you're not diplomatic. So don't say one thing and do another. Like, you know. So in closing there, I'm just going to say thank you again to ArtsTalk for letting me come in and ramble on like I always do. My next show is at Unity Market. Check them out online. That's Saturday, February 11th at 7. It's an all-ages $10 punk show. Going to be pretty rad. And again, you can check both my pages on Facebook and Twitter at 53rd and 3rd shows. That's 53RD and 3RD shows on both. Thanks again. Support local music. Go out and support local artists. You can pay $120, go to Toronto, complain about parking, or you can go to, what's that workout to? What's $100 at $5 a show? So you can go to over 20 shows and meet the bands and hang out and get CDs put in your hand and actually meet people.
Yep.
So it's up to you. You know, you can go pay $150 to see Blink 182 from the Stevie Wonder section, or you can come to a 53rd punk show and have them sweat on you.
Phil Hills, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Taylor Koss, thank you.
Thank you, Dave Peters.
So a little previously unreleased.
Yeah, we're just sladding
Rubella
this
here.
in there a
Gonna
little
slide that
bit.
in
Yeah,
there.
we recorded this from the Rock 95 contest that we won, and this was what we came up with. So this was produced by Taylor Abrams, who works at Wellcraft. And anyways, Socialites, the antisocial remix.
You 90s people are gonna love this track. It's amazing.
Thank you, Phil.
Rubella from ArtsTalk on 102.7 Chop FM. Would you like to hear what's going on in the independent music scene?
Yes.
Would you like to know what's happening in the arts?
Yes.
Well, where can you go to find out?
You can listen to Arts Talk every Wednesday at 6 p.m. on 102.7 Chop FM.
With Taylor Koss.
And Dave Peters. Tune in.